Hello! So I got a Kindle for Christmas from my daughter, and the first thing I thought was I need to make a cover for it. So I had some of this really nice yarn, and I thought, right, that'll be perfect. I do like to rewind my yarn before I use it so that it goes into the yarn bowl nicely and pulls out smoothly. It's a bit of a long process, so I'll speed through this. I had a look to see what size of hook, but it didn't actually tell me, so I just guessed and went for number 5. This is my favourite hook, but it was the size that I thought was most appropriate. So I started off with, I was going to do chain, and I think I ended up changing my mind because I decided to do a foundation stitch or foundation row. So you'll see here I start off doing a chain and then I ultimately change my mind. Also, I forgot how to do a foundation stitch, so I ended up having to go to YouTube, which happens every single time that I do a foundation stitch. I go to the same YouTube tutorial and remind myself how to do it, because if I don't, I just make a real mess. So I end up redoing this because I looked at it and thought, oh geez. So yeah. So this is me now, having watched the tutorial and supposedly know what I'm doing. I don't know why I've got such a bad memory for these things. So yeah, you do 2 stitches and then you go into the back of it and you bring up 2 little loops. So you got to make sure you do the 2 loops, and that was where I went wrong the last time. And this yarn was incredibly sticky and fiddly and the opposite of smooth, and I end up looking really awkward. Not normally this awkward with crochet, but it was particularly sticky and awkward. As you can see, I'm struggling. Then you go through 1 loop and then back through 2. Look at that. Then you go back in to do your 2 loops at the back again. I know this looks really awkward and it is massively fiddly, but it provides you with a much better starting point than just doing chain. So yes, you will have a bit of a pain doing a foundation row, but it's worth it. Oh, so awkward. Anyway, you get the idea, and I'm just going to keep doing these foundation stitches until I have the number that I want. I'll keep checking against the Kindle. After you've got the number of stitches that you want in your foundation row and it meets the width of the Kindle, then all I'm doing is doing single crochet into each of those stitches, but actually going right the way around. So I'm ending up making almost like a sock. Funnily enough, at this point, I decide, I think pretty much soonish, that I've gone too wide. And I do this on a regular basis where I'll make something or start something and I'll think, oh, I don't want it to be too small. I want to make sure that it fits. And then I end up over egging it, and then I realise that it's going to just flop out. So I'm not sure if it's now, but in a few minutes I think I start to pull it apart again and start again. I think this is the next day then. I come back to it and I'll just show you where you can see I'm just doing single crochet all the way around in a loop continuously, and that is what's going to be the sleeve for, and I keep checking. This must be after I've pulled it out and started again. So it's a much better size now because I wanted it to be snug. I don't want it to flap about. So I'm happy with the size of that one. And then all I'm going to do is just keep on doing single crochet round and round and round and round and round. So here I've gone a wee bit further on and you can see that it fits quite nicely. Happy with that. So I just keep going. At this point here, I would say I am happy with the length. So I'm just going to finish up, do a final check, see if I'm content with the fit. What I haven't decided at this point of what I'm going to do with the border. I've got lots of options and I had a look at a few YouTubes to see what I fancy, and yeah, well, you'll see. But yes, the actual size is good. At this point, I'm just working out where the middle point is, and then that'll tell me where I need to put the little flappy chain piece that's going to go over a button or whatever I decide to do in the end. But we need something that's going to hook around to secure. So that's why I've got that little stitch marker in there. Decision time on the border, and I opt for a little bubble stitch. I looked up YouTube and found this tutorial. So you do chain 3, then yarn over and go into the first chain, and you do the start of a double crochet but you don't finish it, and then you go in again, yarn over 2, but you don't finish it. You've now got 3 loops on the hook, and you do that in a total of 5 times. So you do 5 almost double crochets, but you don't finish them. And then when you've done 5, then you will have 6 loops on your hook. And I just check there, I've got 6, then yarn over and pull through all of those. And what you have a little bubble, you got to poke it out, and then you just secure it with a slip stitch then into the next one. So once you've done a slip stitch into that, then I did, once I've finished that, that just anchors it down. Like I say, this yarn's very sticky and awkward. And then I do 4 more slip stitches across. You can have as many as you want, just keep them equal, and then you do the same thing, another bubble stitch. So I'm doing another 3 chain at this point, and then there'll be 5 more double crochets, or sort of almost incomplete double crochets. We've made ourselves round to the stitch marker now, so I'm going to be doing chaining 22, I think I ended up doing, which will be the little loop that then goes over the button that will eventually secure the Kindle inside the sock cover. So once you've done the number of chain that you want, then you go back down in to do a slip stitch so that secures it in. I think I end up doing a couple more just to make sure it's long enough. Then you go back in again. And then I did a couple more of those little cluster bubble stitches, which then completes the edging. Time for another fitting. Yay! It fits. So now we just need to decide what we're going to do as a fastener. I've got 2 ideas. I can either do a button, or I can crochet a button, or I could do another one of those little bubble stitches. I found a little YouTube tutorial to make a crochet button, so I'm having a go at that here. So it's a magic ring, slip stitch, and then you do 10 single crochet inside the magic ring. If you're not sure how to do a magic ring, or what I'm doing, you know, what I'm talking about, then there are a gazillion really good tutorials, much better than I can do because I look awkward. But once you've done the 10, then you pull the center together. And then what's interesting about this is, instead of actually doing any stitches in the where you would normally do the stitches, you just do a slip stitch to bring the circle together, and then the next thing you do is you'll do single crochets but in the magic ring again, which I've never done before, but you'll see it does look a little bit strange, and you got to keep a count. This is when my cat started to get interested in, well, it's actually a foster cat. She started to get interested in what I was doing. So yeah, you're going inside the magic ring again. So you're going pretty much over the top of all the stitches that you've done before. And you're just doing 10, a round of 10 on that. And then when you get to the end of that, then you do another slip stitch to finish that off and to close it up. Might be an idea to have a marker at the beginning so you know where you're at. There she is, Sophie. Sophie. Sophie had 2 of her kittens with us, and the kittens have gone to their new home, but Sophie's still waiting to be picked, to be loved. So once you've done your slip stitch, I'm just counting to make sure I've got enough. So you can see the shape coming together. And then you go back in and you do another round of 10 single crochet inside the center of the magic ring again. She starts to get a bit excited about the yarn at this point. So after you've done your 2 rounds of single crochet in the magic ring, then things get a bit more interesting, and it's something I don't think I've done before. And you do a reverse single crochet, and it makes a really lovely pattern actually. So have a look and see what you think of this. You go back into, I'm like trying to work out how to do it here, but yeah, you go backwards and you do like a backward single crochet. It's pretty mad, and I'm pretty sure I go wrong at the start, but it starts to look a bit better later on. But yeah, interesting finishing technique to have a go at. It's always fun learning new stitches, isn't it? Ah, jeez. So sticky. So you can start to see the pattern that's forming. I think I just really should have gone back and redone that first bit, but not to worry. That's the wee button done. Happy with that. I think it looks all right, and as buttons go, it's grand. I think I prefer that idea to having a traditional button on there, which I didn't really want that hardness of a button. Oh yeah, Sophie's overexcited by all the yarn. Thank you, Sophie. Then I have a look at it on the actual Kindle cover, and I think that's just not going to work. Quit it, Sophie. And yeah. So then I think, what am I going to do instead? That's just not going to hold up. So my thought then was, well, maybe I could do another cluster stitch, another bubble stitch. Is it bubble, cluster? So you'll see I have a go at that now. This is a little test run to see if I like it or not. I mean, it works, but for some reason I'm just not happy with how it looks. I think it definitely works, but it doesn't look right with the bubble stitches at the top and there. And then I look at the button again that I've made and I think I prefer the button. So the only thing I can do is to make the button quite loose and then have the loop going all the way over it, and then that way it would work. So that gets ripped out. Oh my goodness. Luckily there's no damage. So the button's going to be fitted now. And that's it. We're done. Really happy with how it looks, and I'm hoping it will protect the Kindle. What do you think? Do you like it? What would you do differently? What could I improve for next time? Thanks for joining me for this journey. Speak later. Cheers.